have you thought of examining different educational systems for the pros and cons of each? Some of the best education I've had has been from private educational organizations outside of the regular educational mill, like maybe a film examining the pros and cons of different systems.
Well, many people will tell you that they've learned the most important things in their life in all kinds of contexts outside of school. There's so many ways that we learn. The tough thing about doing a kind of a pros and cons thing is that right now the discussion is so one-sided. There is only one message coming at us all the time. We have to have better schools, we have to have more money, we have to educate every child on the planet, we have to have higher standards, we have to have testing. It is so one-sided, and you hear a little bit of other voices about other alternatives. If people feel like that our film is kind of unbalanced, it's because, well, we're doing this tiny little bit to kind of, little David Stone thrown at Goliath, and it's really not fair to ask us to present Goliath's point of view. I think we all know Goliath. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously all kinds of work that could be done by all kinds of people to really look at what some of our alternatives are.
Yes, please.
Just to comment on that, I was last year in just outside of Dharamsala working with Tibetans, and the school was actually Tibetan, from a Tibetan government in exile, and I think Ladakh has a similar system also. So there is, even in Ladakh, a very different sort of school system that does have an incredible cultural program. They teach music and they have all of these traditional things, and they also have classes in Tibetan. And it was with SFU, the International Teacher Education module, and it's the first year that happened was last year. And we were actually working and doing our practicum with these teachers who were Tibetan teachers and learning from them. And they would kind of had this opinion at the beginning about, you know the way to teach, but we were new teachers, we had no idea. And so this program was amazing for that, and those connections we made on a personal level, I feel changed for that. And I think that those kinds of things that are happening, just going in with this viewpoint that's objective and taking lessons from all different aspects is incredibly valuable. So there is hope, and I think that this is a very negative film in a lot of ways, but I'd love to hear more of alternative systems.
I think it's a very positive film. I think it's about appreciating, what other cultures have to offer. Again, what our culture has to offer gets an awful lot of appreciation. So I don't think it needs more from me. But in terms of the types of schools where they are teaching the local culture in the school, the point that I would just make about that, I think that's good. I think it's better than nothing. But at the same time, you have to realize it is a very different thing to sit in a classroom and be taught about your culture. That is very different than living your culture. Being in the fields with your grandmother singing while she works is not the same thing as sitting in a classroom with a teacher and even having your grandmother come into the classroom and then teach you the exact same song. It is changed. And the thing that I feel that's communicated to children is that the old culture has now become sort of a relic. It's become a course of study. It's become something that we play at. It's fun, or it's interesting, or we value it. But it is the past, and the future lies in studying hard and getting your good grades in algebra and chemistry and trying to get into university and move away from home. So, it is better to learn your culture. And when you look at cultures that live in diaspora, like Jewish people or Greeks or Ukrainians, they will have Ukrainian school. Their children will go and learn the language and the dances and the traditions, and it holds them together and has great value. It's absolutely better than nothing. But you have to realize it's not the same thing as the culture actually being alive.
So would you call for the abolishment of schools and having kids going and learning from their parents? What would that look like?
I would not call for anybody dictating to anybody else what they should do. And again, I think, I don't have a top-down solution for people. I just think once we dislodge the idea that this particular social experiment of school as we know it is universally applicable to everyone on the planet, and everyone on the planet should go along with it, or they are deficient, ignorant, uneducated, suffering, poor, inferior. Once you let go of that notion, then a universe of options appears, and people should pursue whichever of those options attracts them.
Yes, please.
I wanted to comment on one question. I don't think that what we have to offer is value that I agree with you. I think the real problem is our fear of I don't know. We're terrified of I don't know, which is what prevents us from having a reciprocal dialogue as opposed to the monologue we put on others. And so I think you do have the answer, which is reciprocity, I think. Because you said earlier that you didn't have the answer, and I think the answer is there. It's reciprocity. We're not doing any listening or doing all the talking. And the question I had was, showed this one young man from Ladakh who said he missed Ladakh. How much he missed Ladakh? Did he go back? And if not, why not?
I actually don't. We haven't. We should probably check back with those kids and see what they're all doing now. Some of them will go back. Often the ones that are the poorer students will go back home and they'll become a taxi driver. And the ones that are the better students will continue on and either live in Delhi or someplace like that, or they'll wind up in going to Europe or North America. I was just going to say that would be the one thing I would say to take away here is this. I sort of coined the phrase the missionary fallacy. The missionary fallacy is I have something that I love and it's good for me and it works for me, and therefore you need to do it too. And so there's nothing wrong with being a Christian, and if it enriches your life and you value it, that's great, but everybody else doesn't have to be a Christian. And so if you enjoyed your schooling and you feel it was beneficial and you want to be a teacher and share with students, great, do it. But everybody doesn't have to do the same thing.
Sure, yes.
First of all, really thanks. If you decide in a good message, the beauty, which frame was a piece of art. Really thank you for that.
That's all due to our cinematographers, Jim Hurst and Ben Knight, who are just so gifted. Works so cheap.
One thing that today I feel is our problem, everybody belongs to a group. In our society, everybody belongs to a unit. Like we are born with a family, so we belong to the same religion, same language, same country, same heritage, and all. And later, all other calls come along, depending on your profession or your interest, and sometimes you are deceived with calls. And today I see this nature of calls in everywhere, and kind of brainwash everybody, especially in the West. And somehow, your idea of the knowledge, it has a very good balance. That you are not suggesting this way or that way. But in our society, I think we should give more knowledge to individuals, not to be deceived in the union that they belong. They have to be open to all kind of idea of things.
It's interesting what you say. It's sort of an observation. It's a little outside the scope of the film, but I do feel like what you will often see is that it may be a natural thing that many people sort of take their perceptions socially, and they will see what those around them see. And so if slavery is acceptable in their society, slavery will be acceptable to them. If everybody drives a Hummer, where they live, they'll drive a Hummer. If everybody drives a Prius, they'll drive a Prius. And so if everybody is, non-racist, they'll be non-racist. And that is a sort of I think there's a little bit of human nature in that. And I do think that there are sort of a minority of people, if you look down through history, that sort of call it as they see it. They're taking their perceptions, with their own eyes and not by what those around them think. So, yeah.